Okay, g'day guys. My name's Paul. I'm going to play a bit of Minecraft. I'm going to attempt to show you how to automate Astral Sorcery with integrated dynamics. I might mention a couple of things. First up, I'm playing Modern Skyblock 3, I believe, Departed, or is it? I don't know. Modern Skyblock 3. I'm playing it with cheats off, but I have kitchen sink mode on. So, and the reason I'm playing with the cheats off is because if I've got cheats on, I'll cheat, and that's no fun. So, let's have a look at Astral Sorcery. It's up here a bit. Now, this here is the setup that automates crystal production and collecting starlight. And as you can see, I'm using integrated dynamics all over the place. What I'm planning to do with this series, and it's almost certainly going to be a series, here's my celestial crystals here. What I'm planning to do with this series is I will tear all of this down and rebuild it, and I'll show you how to set up how to automate the production of celestial crystals. I don't plan to show you any crafting, so we're not going to be singing in front of this. Obviously you've got JEI, you already know how to craft things. What we'll mainly be doing is putting down cable and programming up the variables. So what I'll do right now is I will tear all of this down so that I can rebuild it. And that's what I'll be doing for the next few hours. And then I'll put it on YouTube, and we should all be sweet. So how about I make a start at doing that now, and I'll just go ahead with it. Well, that was a bit traumatic. Obviously I spent quite a bit of time setting that up. What I've got left is all the gear that I had packed in there. So I've got they've all been cleared, everything's been made blank, so all the variable cards are blank, all of these are off everything. Why do I have that in there? That doesn't belong there. Neither does that. Yeah, so we're going to use this and rebuild that. As a matter of fact, we're going to rebuild it even bigger and better. I'm going to be producing a lot of maxed out celestial crystals, more than I could possibly ever need. Is the goal. So let's get started. To start with, you need one celestial crystal with a purity of 100%. Now, I won't tell you how to make those. If you play Astral Sorcery, you already know. You make a celestial crystal by chucking a crystal in a starlight pool. Actually, I am telling you how to make those with some dust. And then you grow the crystal until it's 900, and then you keep growing it until it buds off. When it buds off, the budded off crystal will have a higher purity than what you started with, and you do that until you've got something with a purity of 100, which is what I've got here. Right, so let's just start simply. You'll also need some starlight to get started with. Once again, you know how to get that. I'm focusing just on the integrated dynamics here, not on the the whole thing. Now that was a bit silly because I'm going to need to do some stuff. Now the crystal will sit inside that pool there as an entity. Hang on for a tick. Coffee. Okay, the crystal. The first step is to build a pool which is going to bud off new crystals. Okay, and that's going to be this pool here. The crystal will sit inside that pool as an entity. So we use an entity reader to work with its state. The other thing we need to do is to pull crystals out of that pool as they bud off. And so we need a world item importer. So let's grab a world item importer, and let's grab a entity reader. Here we are. I will stick the entity reader onto there. I will stick the world item importer onto there. Now, of course, we need to feed liquid starlight into that square, because as the crystal grows, it consumes liquid starlight out of that barrel. To do that, we use a fluid interface. Here we are. Some cable and a world fluid exporter. Here we are. So I'll export the fluid thusly. Actually, we're going to dump that there. Fantastic. Now then, here's our drum of liquid starlight, which currently has got a fair bit of starlight in it because I've been running it for a long time. Obviously, you don't start with that much, but that doesn't matter. We stick a fluid interface on there. And this fluid interface, I'm going to give a number to. Thank you. I'm going to give a number to. I'm going to say that this is channel 10. You always want to set the channel as something that's not 0, because 0 is the default. If you leave anything on channel 0, then when you place a exporter or an importer for the first time, it's going to import to channel 0 and it's going to screw things up. So interface channel 10 is where that fluid is coming from. Let's run some cable. Boop. 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 Okay, now everything's connected up. Fantastic. Now at this point we need a logic programmer. Hang on. Which I think I put away. There it is. I'm going to grab a blank variable card. I'm going to program the variable card to a constant true. Boop. And I'm going to explain to this fluid exporter that it should place all fluids from channel 10. There you go. That block will now be kept full of starlight from this drum. Job done. The next thing we need to do is to obviously throw a crystal in there, because you need one crystal to start with. Oh, here it is. And that crystal will sit there growing and it will eventually bud. Now at this point we've got to start fooling about with variables. So I'll grab a variable store. I have several variable stores because I like to keep them organized. I like to keep them separate. So the other thing about variable stores is that I put them on stalks. And the reason I put them on stalks is that sometimes this system will, integrated dynamics will jam. And the way to unjam it is to get rid of that and put it back. So, the other thing I think I'll grab is a couple of displays so that I can show you some stuff. So let's just grab a couple of displays just so I can show you stuff. Here's our entity reader. It's telling us that there's a celestial crystal entity in front of it, but that's not what I'm interested in. What I really want is the list of entities, which is this thing. So I grab the list of entities. Now, of course, I don't really want the list of entities. What I want is the length of the list of entities, okay? I think it's called len. That's here. This operator takes an input of type list and it gives an output of type integer, okay? So let's grab the length of that list. And let's put it in here. Nothing happens because it needs access to this variable. Put the variable there, and there you go. There is one entity sitting in front of that entity reader. Let's grab another crystal. Oh, come on. And now there's two entities sitting in front of the reader. What I want to happen now is for this item importer to pull out a crystal when there is more than one entity sitting in front of that reader, because that's the circumstance under which the thing buds. When it buds off a new crystal, there's now two entities sitting in front of it, and that's how we detect it. Hang on, I'll just get my coffee. Right. So we're going to pull the crystal out of this thing, but where are we going to pull it out to is a good question. The system to build Astral Sorcery celestial crystals needs 3 item interfaces and 3 storage crates or chests or whatever, just as long as there's enough room in them. I will stick these storage crates, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really want them hanging off the side. Haven't thought this through, have I? I will stick the storage crates here, here, and here. I will run some cable here, here, and here. Put item interfaces on those, and this will be crate number 1, this will be crate number 2, and this will be crate number 3. Now, crate number 1 stores fresh crystals from the crystal butter offerer, okay? It stores crystals that are not full size yet. Crate number 2 stores crystals that are full size but that need cutting. So this is needs growing and this is needs cutting. And this is the output of our system. It's crystals that are fully grown to 900 and fully cut to 100%. Right, so the answer, where's this going to pull it out to? It pulls it out to crate number 1. So, let's get our logic programmer. Let's take a well, we already have the count there, so let's just grab that count. Let's make a constant 1. God damn it. Let's make a constant 1. Let's make a greater than operator. Length. Thank you. So length is greater than 1. That's Boolean. We put both of these things in the... We don't put that in there. We put these two in there. And let's just put that in there temporarily. you can see that the length here is greater than 1. It's true because there's 2 entities in there. If we remove one of the entities, it's now false. So on our world item importer, I tell it to pick up all item entities when the length is greater than 1. Of course, some crystals don't stack, so it'll only pull up one at a time. We can slow it down, I think. Not that it's necessary. And that should work. So if we throw a crystal in there, and tell it to put the stuff into channel 1. Oh, that's way too slow. Hang on. Yeah, let's bump that back up to 64. Our crystal has now arrived in channel 1. Let's do that again. Boink. So now, whenever a crystal buds off, one of the 2 crystals will be put up in there, and it really doesn't matter which one. They all have purity 100 because we've grown them to that point, and they're both going to need growing, so whatever. So that's stage 1. This thing will just sit there growing crystals. It'll get fed with starlight from this thing, and it will just sit there growing crystals for us into that chest crate. But you know, I'd really like more. You know, I want to have. Actually, it's not really a big deal. Okay, don't mind me. I'm going to build a second one of these just next door to it, and oh, look at that! It just butted off a crystal. Actually, no, it didn't butt off a crystal. Yes, it did. It butted off crystal. Look at that. It's small, and it needs cutting. Fantastic, it works. I'm going to build another one of these pools, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have built exactly the same thing again, and of course, due to my lack of planning, it's extended out like that. But you can see that we've got exactly the same thing. When this pool has more than one entity in it, this importer will pull it out into our chest up here. Now, what have we got in this variable store? Well, we've got the list for one of our growing pools. We've got the list for the other growing pool. We've got the length of that growing pool. We've got the length of the other growing pool. And we have a constant, an integer constant number 1, because we need to compare these to 1. You can see that we're going to wind up with a lot of variables, and for each of our pools, we've got a whole set of identical variables that have got to get produced. For the crystal grower, it's not so bad, okay, because there's only 2. But for some of the stuff we're going to be building later, they require 6 or 7 variables to make them go, and you really don't want to create 6 or 7 variables for each one of them. So I'm going to demonstrate next how to go about reducing the number of variables that you need. And I think I'll stop this recording here and restart and come back to that.